Laughing away. Okay. We'll kick it off. Welcome, everybody, to our regular meeting, East Bay Charter Township Planning Commission. We'll call the meeting to order. First up is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'll please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And if we could get a roll call, please.
Sure. Richardson?
Here.
Wassam? Walters? Gonzalez?
Here.
Edley?
Here.
Ferguson? Here. And Leonard?
Here. Thank you. Next on the agenda is conflict of interest. Anything to declare by anyone? Okay, we'll move on to approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for Thursday, November 7th, 2024 from the East Bay Township Planning Commission.
Thank you. We got a motion by Mindy, seconded by Rhonda for approval of the agenda as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the meeting minutes from October 1st, the regular meeting.
I'll move to approve the Planning Commission meeting minutes of October 1, 2024, and all site meetings.
Support.
Thank you. We've got a motion by Paul, seconded by Mindy for approval of the minutes as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next up is public comment. Anyone who wishes to speak, come up to the lectern. You have about 3 minutes. No way. First time in months. Literally.
This is the smallest I've seen it.
This is something else.
Where is everybody?
All right, we'll close the public comment section. Next up is correspondence. What do we got, Claire?
Okay, so good evening, everyone. You have 2 items of correspondence in your packet. One is from City of Traverse City, that they adopted their master plan, and then the other one is Whitewater Township is beginning the master plan update.
All right.
I'm sorry. No, just a minute. I'm sorry, they have a draft master plan out for review.
Perfect. Any questions in Claire?
Yeah.
Moving on to item number 8, reports, Township Board, Mindy.
We had a Township Board meeting on October 14th. It was the quarterly reports meeting, so we had a report from each of the different township, I'm losing a word right now, but like the treasurer's office and the engineers and anyway, ambulance and fire, yada, yada, yada. But also, we talked about the new proposed route for the force main. What are the pros and cons of each route? One of them is going through a gravel alley versus a freshly paved road, and that kind of thing, and the pros and cons of that. We also had an introduction to the zoning ordinance. The zoning ordinance will be on the meeting agenda for next week, but we have to introduce it first, and we did that. But one of the things that was talked about a lot is that there's a lot of things that are still lingering to be cleared up, and they want to make sure that we put them on our agenda. If we go ahead and approve the zoning ordinance as it is, we know that there's things that we're already talking about wanting to change, and specifically we talked about camping, retaining walls, signage, and the acreage outside of the growth boundary. So they just want to make sure that we have a running list of all those, in addition to what I just highlighted, those that we're going to come back to and revisit them, so that we can say, okay, we're at a point where we're going to get this huge, there's been so much work by so many people to get it to where it is, but we still know there's things going on that we want to look at. Make sure that those don't get lost, but we continue to move forward. So that'll be back on the agenda on Monday. And then we talked about the budget. Again, it was just an introduction to the budget for 2025.
Nice. Any questions?
Departments is the word I couldn't figure in my brain.
There you go.
We knew what you meant.
Okay. Paul, you're up with ZBA.
No meeting.
That's easy. Claire, anything else?
Yeah, I've got a few updates, and thank you, Mindy, for that update. That's helpful, just for good summary of zoning. Just a quick, in addition, the Township Board meeting, because of the holiday, is actually Tuesday night. If any planning commissioners want to come and support the zoning ordinance, it's on Tuesday evening instead of Monday.
He likes you.
So, a couple just quick updates. So we had the Beach District final presentation last week, really well attended. So thanks everyone who was able to attend that. The next step is going to be discussion of financing options with our implementation team. We're meeting next Thursday morning. That's a public meeting. We're also planning to record it, so we're going to have it on our website just as an educational resource for anyone interested in learning more about the financing options available. I wanted to circle back just to, at our last meeting, or I think 2 meetings ago, no, it was our last meeting, there was a recommendation from the Planning Commission to set up an agricultural subcommittee, just to take a little deeper dive into some of the larger parcels, looking at appropriate density, cluster development tools. So after talking with some of the larger property owners, as well as I reached out to MSU Extension, and then also circled back and conferred with Dan, your chairman, we're recommending moving forward with hosting a public open house, like a open space and agricultural forum, educational as well as input. And reason behind that is just we feel it will be more inclusive. So instead of identifying a subcommittee and then with that subcommittee allowing public comment, just really trying to invite everybody to the table. And we anticipate that there would be an opportunity for some education at the beginning of the forum. MSU Extension has offered to provide some of that education. And then after that, similar to what we did with the riparian zoning workshop, which I think was really well attended and participants appreciated, we'd break into small groups, have some different kind of policy questions and have them answer questions, provide some guidance, report back and collect all that information and bring it back to the Planning Commission. So just wanted to mention that to you. In talking with MSU Extension, and particularly Mary Riley has quite a bit of expertise in that. We're thinking this winter is when we would hold it. So we can circle back on specific timing for that, but just allowing the small groups to be able to brainstorm and report back to the group and have it be a little bit more interactive. Last quick update, the Whitewater Township Master Plan, I did have the opportunity to review it. I thought it was, and I sent out a link to the Planning Commission, but I thought it was well-written. I specifically looked just at the generalized future land use plan. It identifies areas along the shared border and identifies that as recreational, but just kind of in the narrative with the recreational, it's very similar to how we identify our natural area. So it, contemplates parcels of 5 acres or more, mostly limited to state land, recreation-based. So I thought it was very compatible with the boundary area that we share with Whitewater Township. Talked a lot about maintaining rural character, development would be campgrounds and those types of things, but just on larger parcels. So I'm would be interested in any planning commissioners' input either tonight or follow-up, but I'm also happy to just draft a letter to Whitewater, just letting them know that we did review it. So,
Sounds good. Any questions for Claire?
Yeah, I need clarification. When is the meeting of the next board? You said the 12th?
Tuesday, the 12th.
Okay, that's,
Veterans Day is Monday.
okay.
And you guys are going to be in the North Conference Room for the ZBA.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's my
so,
question. All
yep,
right, fine.
Yep.
Thank you.
We got 2 meetings that night. So that's all I've got for updates.
Okay, sounds good. We'll dive right into our first order of new business, which is site plan review 20-24 and special land use 9-24, JT Land Company expansion. We'll have a public hearing and discussion, and before we jump into the public hearing, Claire, if you might set the table for us on this one, please.
Sure. So, and I've got the computer set up to provide, and I apologize, I'm not sure what's going on with our screen, if it's a computer issue or a screen issue, but I think you can see it at least a little bit. But the applicant, Tim Pease, is seeking an amendment to, if you'll recall, a previously approved special land use permit. So in 2022, the Planning Commission approved a permit for operation of vehicle repair shop, offices for their beer and wine tour, and a sign shop at the Meadowlands Industrial Park on those 2 parcels. And the proposal is to construct a new parking lot paved on Unit 4. The plan is to move their administrative offices for their beer and wine site off-site, but they are looking to add parking for storing the beer and wine fleet vehicles, the employee vehicles, and the vehicle repair customers' vehicles. So you'll see there's a staff report prepared. There was a wetland delineation that's been completed. There's no, wetlands are not proposed to be disturbed. The applicant has also secured a soil erosion permit and stormwater permit, and has been given permission by the township to begin site prep. And the reason behind that is we were looking to allow them to do mobilization because they're looking to coordinate with another construction project that's right across the street, which they have already received a land use permit and approval to begin that. So they're not beginning any construction of the parking lot or anything like that until they have site plan approval and a land use permit, but we did allow them to begin the site prep with the stormwater permit and soil erosion. So a couple items I just wanted to highlight before turning it over to the applicant. One is just that under the current ordinance, we say that it states vehicle repair facilities can only constitute either one lot or unit or 5% of the total developable area of the industrial park. So as you can see in the application, the vehicle repair facility is proposed to operate both on units 3 and 4. I'm comfortable with approving that with the condition that they tie the 2 parcels together through legal means as one cohesive development site. The other thing that I'll just mention is with our new zoning ordinance that we're potentially looking at adopting next week, we do not have that type of restriction for vehicle repair facilities. It was something the zoning ordinance subcommittee discussed. The discussion was that vehicle repair facility is really only allowed in the industrial park, and so, confining it to that limited amount of space didn't seem to have a lot of, reasoning behind it, so.
Gotcha.
So that's, that would be one recommendation. The other item I just wanted to highlight is in 2022 is a part of the approval, the Planning Commission include a condition of requiring an 8-foot fence between the vehicle repair operations and the parcel to the north zoned high-density residential. If you'll recall, we had quite a bit of discussion about that because we have a provision in our current ordinance that says the fence must be 8 feet if they're to screen any inoperable vehicles. So I think there was a lot of discussion at the time. Are the repair vehicles inoperable? According to the applicant, they don't have inoperable vehicles on their site. They're repairing them, but they're not they're not inoperable. So I am recommending instead of an 8-foot fence to have a 6-foot fence. A couple reasons behind that. One is just the fact that I don't believe that there's a necessity to screen from the inoperable vehicles. In addition, with our new zoning ordinance, and this was something that the subcommittee discussed, And it's in the new draft ordinance is dropping it down to a 6-foot fence to screen any inoperable vehicles. So whether or not they're inoperable, I still would recommend that opaque fence, screening all the way along the entire border of the property. And especially given the fact that we had a sketch plan review recently for a potential residential development just on the other side of that fence to the north of the property. So those were the only two items. Back to the fence, we had originally told the applicant they needed to make sure that they were in compliance with everything from the originally approved site plan. And they have been working over the last year to remove, I mean, you can see what's on the site right now. All of that is gone and has been cleaned up. So they've removed storage units, they've removed vehicles. The one outstanding item was just the fence, and so they were going to go ahead and put it in, and they were, kind of looking at height, and so I told them just to hold off until Planning Commission had an opportunity to review and take a look at the site plan. So.
Sounds good.
Last quick item was just that the site plan as presented does not include, after talking with the applicant today, they basically removed everything from the site except there's still one storage unit, and they are interested in keeping inventory there long-term. And so Bill Crane, the applicant's representative, has brought a site plan with the storage unit shown on there, and so I'll let Bill kind of speak to that in a little bit more detail, but that's kind of the overview that I have for now. Thank you.
Sounds good. Any questions for Claire?
Yeah, I do. They currently have the 8-foot fence there,
They have not put up any fence yet.
so there's no fence at all,
Right.
even
Yep.
though the approval last time said.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay.
And we have representatives of the applicant here this evening. If you wanted to come up and speak to that.
Bill Crane, Crane Engineering, here to represent JT Land Company on their proposal tonight, and also Tim Peace, the owner of JT Land Company, is here to answer any questions that I may not be able to. I'm not sure a lot more to present. Claire pretty much covered everything that we're looking at doing, adding additional parking area for the operations at the facility. And yes, we did, there is one storage container that is on site that we've added to the site plan. It's located kind of in the northwest corner of the existing parking area on Unit 3. And the proposal, we do have stormwater control management on site. We do have a soil erosion permit in hand. We do have township stormwater control permit obtained already. Approval through Metro Fire, Road Commission, they're private streets, so the Road Commission, and we got existing accesses, no additional needed from the Road Commission. Like I said, Claire, there was a couple items on the recommendations for approval. The screening with a fence on the north line. Like I said, Claire's been working with the owner in regards to the height of that fence, so we are in agreement to installing a 6-foot opaque fence along the north unit lines of Unit 3 and 4. The other one was a combination of Unit 3 and Unit 4 into one parcel. And I guess a question came up if the new ordinance isn't too far away and they're in that requirement of doesn't apply to having parking on a single lot versus combining it. Is that something that if we actually physically need to combine those two units? I know we've submitted under the current ordinance. The new ordinance isn't in effect yet, but I guess that's just a question that if that process is still needed to combine those two lots into one, because it is a lengthy process.
Sure.
Especially with a condominium. I mean, you're talking updated master deed, exhibit Bs, attorneys, you get the whole gamut of approval. Actually, I think there might even be approval of the existing unit owners have to sign off on that change to the condominium document. So it's something that maybe we can look at to see if that is physically needed, or if there's another way that we can kind of meet that same purpose versus doing that full lengthy combination of those two units. But overall, I think Claire's covered it, and we're here to answer any questions if you have any.
Sounds good. Any questions of the applicant while he's here?
Where's the storage unit?
Storage unit. Let me get this upside down right here. So the storage unit is actually located in this location here, just to the north of the existing building. It's actually located on the existing concrete and parking area.
I was gonna say, is it that white roof?
Yeah, it would actually be this unit right here.
At the other item, just for the storage unit, I would recommend that, adding a condition, if the storage unit is approved, that it would be kept painted, well-maintained, and that a building permit would be secured for it, and treat it like an accessory building. So if it's over 200 square feet, it would be, placed on permanent foundation. And we do allow that in other instances, like with the shipping container. So that's something that our ordinance doesn't regulate against using a storage unit for those purposes, so long as it meets all of our other zoning ordinance requirements.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant? Oh, come on up.
Yeah,
Come on up.
I guess I just wanted to talk about the,
What was your name?
Tim Pease, sorry. I wanted to talk about, 'cause we hadn't talked about combining the lots, and I understand that if we're using that for automotive, it would be one lot, but what happens in the future if, maybe my automotive shop is half the size that it is, and we no longer need that parking for anything? Wine and beer tours, we might sell that company in the next 2 years or 2 months, if anybody knows anybody. And so if we were never using it for automotive, my hands would kind of be really tied to not ever use that lot for anything else in the future. That seems a little restrictive to the fact that we're just want to use it for parking and the ordinance is going to change. So I don't know what we can do. I mean, as long as we're using it for parking for automotive, I mean, we're not going to do anything else with it. We're not going to build on it, obviously, if we're using it for parking lot. But I guess I wouldn't want to do it legally, like you said, through the condo association. Any kind of agreement for now is fine, but
We've in the past, with other developments, just because sometimes developments are approved on multiple parcels and they're not looking to do a lot combination, we've just had something that was recorded with the Register of Deeds tying those together legally. And so I think that would allow you flexibility in the future to make a change to that.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for explaining, Claire.
Okay, at this point, we will open the public hearing at 6:55. Anybody have any other comments on this matter? Come on up. Okay. Reading the tea leaves, we're going to close the public hearing at 6:56 and bring it back to the commission. Sounds like we've only got a few things to chew on here, folks. Just personally thinking through the combination of the lots, I don't know, the practicalness of it all, I have faith that the new ordinance will go through in some capacity. I think so long as we're secured, I would hate to tie their hands, honestly, just in the future, but I'm one person. Anybody else have thoughts on that?
I like Claire's option of just through the Register of Deeds, so they are legally, but then it offers flexibility in the future if businesses change and they want to sell one.
Yeah, because I guess from my perspective, when we approve this, like the site plan is tied to the amount of parking that this use has, and so there's a lot of different considerations. And if we didn't have those kind of tied together as a development site, And we can talk with legal counsel a little bit more about how to do that in a way that doesn't hamstring future use of the parcel. I just would want to make sure that we just had that assurance, because when we review a site plan, we're looking at it cohesively as one site.
Claire, do you feel like your recommendation under item number, is it 2? Do you think that that's written in a way that provides us some flexibility?
That's how
Okay.
it was intended, was
Okay.
just to not necessarily require a lot combination.
And the only other piece that jumps out at me was that fence. Are we all good with a 6-foot versus 8?
8 seems excessive to me. I don't know. I do remember us talking really a lot about it before, but I think it was just because of the way our ordinance was written, so.
Right.
I have a question, though. If you go to the register and you register these as one lot, would that preclude them from, in the future, selling that lot separately?
I think that we're going to do a little bit of research on the exact legal means that are appropriate to tie it
Yeah,
together.
I also,
maintain flexibility.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking though that if we tie both units together under the special land use, then if it does change use in the future, or they cut off a big portion, right, then they'll have to come back to us, no matter what. The new buyer, that is, to be able to reuse that parking lot for a new building or cut down half the business on what's there today.
Not necessarily if you're talking about Unit 3, but my concern is that Unit 3, if I'm correct, is actually, that storage is actually in some of the parking spaces, so you're reducing the parking spaces on that approved site plan by having the storage unit on some of those parking spaces, so that's really tying Unit 3 to Unit 4 and the parking. So I think they have to be connected for this. Or that storage, because you can't take 3 away from 4 anymore if you've got a parking problem. I know everybody hates talking about parking, but if you went to that property when that aerial was taken, or even there was vehicles and stuff, you couldn't park. So, I mean, they definitely need more parking, and it just is a sign that their business is doing well, except for the fact that there is definitely a parking problem out there. And I think I think they have to be connected.
Do you feel strongly that they should go through and go through the legal process of amending the master deed and all that?
I think
or-
that this is bigger than what I understand, so I think that going through legal is the best way to do that. Whether legal says it can be done just through the Register of Deeds, or if it needs to go through the whole condo docs process, I do believe they need to be connected.
So you're comfortable with number 4 in the recommendation anyway?
Number 2.
Or number 2, thank you.
Yes.
Number 2, okay. I think we all agree on that in some capacity. What that looks like, I guess we'll let, legal figure out. But beyond that, does anybody else have any other questions or
Claire, do
comments?
you have any other concerns about that storage unit being on the property?
It's something that we're looking at more globally, township-wide, because there's definitely been a kind of increasing frequency that we're seeing with commercial uses using shipping containers, other storage units for inventory. So I think, in an effort to be kind of equitable and fair, I'd like to look at it a little bit more township-wide in terms of how best to handle it.
So do we need to table this until you have time to look at that? I mean, did this come really last minute for you, or
You know, I
Have
know
you
that,
had
I know
time?
that Bill has had conversations over the last year or so about the storage, and as I mentioned, a lot of the storage units have been removed. So I personally don't have concerns about storage unit here. I think
Okay.
more of our concerns are in like the Beach District and some of our other commercial areas, and we're wanting to take a closer look at that. I guess from like in an industrial park, I don't have a lot of concerns, especially if it's, well-maintained and upkept and.
Does that need to be one of the conditions, because you were mentioning all the things that it needs to be on a permanent foundation and blah, 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 blah? Does that need to be a condition or
I
no?
would recommend that, yeah.
So do we need to add that as number 5?
Could we call it a Claire, you said it as an accessory building?
Yeah, so I think I would say kept painted, well-maintained, and a building permit should be secured.
Yeah,
And treat
that's
it
what
like,
you were talking- the
treat it
building.
like an accessory building,
Yeah.
permanently affixed to the ground, so however you want to state that.
Sounds good. Any other questions, or should we look for a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve site plan review 20-24, special land use 9-24, JT Land Company expansion with the recommendations in Claire's memo of October 31st, 2024, with an addition of number 5. The storage unit must remain painted in good condition, maintained, and on a permanent foundation. A building permit for that structure must also be secured.
Second?
Thank you. Got a motion by Mindy, seconded by Steve for approval of SPR 20-24 and SLU 9-24 with conditions 1 through 5. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Appreciate your time. Okay, next up is site visits. So I'll lay a little groundwork. We've all been attending these site visits in record time, which is great, but sometimes it gets a little tight, and we can't fit everybody on site. And I know that we do as best job we can to keep everybody huddled together, but in some instances, we've had some pretty big turnouts, especially lately. So we were talking creatively, is there a way to kind of, get everybody in one room, in an actual room, to kind of talk through some of those things without necessarily being on site? And Claire, if you want to kind of talk through some of the options that we came up with?
Yeah, sure. So, as you're aware, the East Bay Township, both Zoning Board of Appeals and Planning Commission for years has conducted these site visits. In my experience, there's no other communities that do the same regularly or frequently. I've talked to some other planners. Our legal counsel, both Brian and Peter, say no other communities that they work with do that. And they have some pretty significant concerns and have voiced them over the years, but understanding that there are benefits to seeing the property, but I would say the main concerns with the site visits are just the ADA accessibility and making sure that we meet the, open meetings requirements, ADA. There's, possibility of side conversations inadvertently between planning commissioners, members of the public, and those could lead to, concerns just related to making sure that everything is done procedurally correctly. I think that there's definitely opportunity as a part of our application when somebody applies for a site plan, a special land use permit, anything like that. Their signature states that township officials, including planning commissioners, may access their site for purposes of, helping inform a decision. So I would encourage all planning commissioners to continue to take a look at the sites. We can make sure that they're still staked out, so you can go and take a look, see the building corners. We could even put together, have them put together kind of a general site plan of what the stakes are and what those represent. But I do think that having those not a public meeting is going to be best practice and is going to protect us from a legal perspective. So that would be, that's my recommendation, that's our legal counsel recommendation. There's a memo from Brian Graham, as well as, I found MML, the Michigan Municipal League, has a handbook for planning commissioners, and so they go into some detail just about site visits and best practices, and so I think, just wanted to bring that up. And Dan and I had just talked about how, we've got Connect Explorer, and it's, we can move around the site, we can really take a close look at the site, and I think that's a powerful tool. We fly it every year, so that is an opportunity just to be able to take a closer look, and I can make sure that I'm setting up the computer each time and having, so then you've got the public, the planning commission, the applicant, all kind of together looking at the same site.
So you're not proposing to do that in addition to the regular scheduled meeting at 6:30? You would do a separate meeting for a site visit, or you would just make that part of the presentation?
Yeah, this would be just available during the public hearing, and we could take a closer look if any questions come up, so everybody's looking at it together as decisions are being made.
At the formal meeting.
Yes, in the eve, yeah. Here at the
Honestly, it
Township
makes the
Hall.
most sense because time and time again, Dan or whoever's running the meeting is saying, we can talk more about that at the meeting, we can address that at the meeting. And the side conversations absolutely happens because people try to drag you into a conversation, probably not understanding the implications of the Meeting Act, the whatever it's called, the
Open meeting.
Open Meeting Act. So I'd be fine with us just on our own. If we need to feel like we need to go see it, we can run by, but
What do you think, Mindy?
So in my 17 years on this commission, this has come up at least every few years. And for years, it's been, everybody said, you shouldn't be doing it, nobody else does it, and everybody, since now, it's been, no, we're gonna still continue to do it. But recently, there's been some times where we're not in control of the meeting anymore at all. I mean, one of the meetings recently, there was
30 people.
30 people there, they had taken over the meeting. We didn't have time in our schedule for that, though I believe that conversation needed to happen. I just don't believe it needed to happen with the planning commission there. And I even tried to totally derail everybody and said, okay, now where's the entrance? I knew darn well where that entrance was, but I was trying to get the meeting back to what the planning commission needs to talk about. And with these new tools and, and it being dark out right now, we couldn't go to a site plan right now anyway. I really think it makes sense now that we don't do these anymore. I really like the fact that we can see it and visually but we can still do that. As long as we understand that, or that the owners understand that, well, we will be showing up and we will be looking and, we can't talk to you, but we'll be there. We might introduce ourselves, I'm so-and-so, I'm with the planning commission, but other than that, I can't talk to you, so have a nice day. Yeah, it is a little
Yeah.
awkward, so,
Yeah.
I can make sure to give them a heads up.
yeah.
Would we need an appointment, or would, okay.
No,
Is the application that they sign clear that, because they had that recommendation in here, that clearly they understand that these people are going to be showing up at odd times, individuals at different times, I presume maybe even different days. So is that going to be very clear in the application that they know that?
yeah, I mean, right now it is clear, but I think also reminding them that I'll make that a part of my process, just to give them a heads up that planning
Especially between when the
commissioners.
packet is issued and
Yeah.
the meeting.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it gets that window down pretty,
Yeah, well, because there have been some times that I've gone to a site prior to the meeting to know where I was going. And when you show up individually, all of a sudden the neighbors are out there, what is this guy doing here? And I can understand being me, but, but in either case, I mean, somehow they have to get the message across to the other folks that these people are going to be showing up, looking around.
I wear my vest every time. Big yellow vest, says township official. I didn't get one, I was just kidding.
Yeah, one of my.
Maybe we need vests as a part of this.
Yeah,
Include that in the motion.
yeah, let's do it.
And name tags.
And as a part of this, though, we talked about just having this available, like, at every meeting, because when we pull things up and people, the general public's looking at a map on an easel, and we're turning it 13 different times, so everybody can see it, we have the tech. And, I mean, with maybe an updated monitor or something, we could even see where topography is.
That's happened to me today at work. I was at an all-day meeting, and it looked just like that, and they're like, I don't know what's going on with it.
Yeah,
Maybe it's the same manufacturer projector, I don't know, but
but, I don't know, I think just as a best practice, it'd be handy, so then everybody can kind of see what we're seeing, or at least have a better understanding live.
And it's not going to hurt any of our feelings this winter to be right here in this room looking at that site.
Right.
Especially when it's pouring.
Right, or then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm going to miss taking minutes.
Oh, don't you worry, we'll get another job for you.
What is our procedure on this? Is this something that we pass, or is this something that has to be approved by the trustees as a change?
I think just a general recommendation recorded in the minutes is fine. If someone wants to make a motion to formalize that, that's fine. But I think I think procedurally, it's something that the Planning Commission can make a determination on, and it doesn't need to go to the Township Board.
So is there a necessary motion saying that we now adopt a new procedure?
I think that would be helpful.
Okay.
With the caveat, and the only reason I bring this up is because I think that if we get one before us that has some pretty specific stuff, we table it, maybe we ask for it as a condition of our tabling or something like that. Because a lot of times, they're trying to describe a specific weird, layout or wetland condition or what have you, and seeing it really does help. Especially if it's in the back corner or something, we just,
Oh, there's no doubt that I think having a site visit, seeing it physically,
Well, that last one that we did at the wedding venue, that one was like down around the corner through the woods and.
The one I got lost on?
Yeah, we couldn't find.
I was
it.
heading into no man's land looking for you guys.
no, but I mean, I think that it still would be that we have the option of personally seeing
Yes.
the territory.
Oh, I
Yeah.
think that's necessary, yes.
Yeah, I mean, technology is great, but it doesn't
Oh,
beat boots on the ground.
right.
yeah.
You can't see the cars driving by from when you're down in the hole, how far away they are, where that neighbor's house
Right.
is elevation wise as easily as when
Right.
you're visually looking at it. But I don't think we're taking that away. I think we're just taking away that meeting. But I would recommend that if we do have a site like that wedding venue, and it was not easy to find, that they're putting, a trail of breadcrumbs so we can find it, right? So,
Yeah,
Yeah, that's one thing. In talking to people, it would be a good idea to tell them clearly mark where you are, because, yeah, I know I've zipped by a couple of times and have to turn around and figure out where they are. So,
Yeah, and I actually, rethinking this, I don't think a motion is necessary. I think just the general guidance and direction is adequate.
Okay.
And Paul, it's going to be coming in front of the ZBA next week.
That's going to be a
Similar-
great debate.
Similar
I can tell you
item.
that right.
Trying to have all the processes consistent.
Get my
so.
ducks in a row. Right. down
Okay,
the
yeah.
arguments.
There you go.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for talking it through, everybody. Next up is item number 10, public comment round 2. Last chance, folks.
Hi, good evening. My name is Maxwell Cameron. I'm the Community Development Coordinator for Grand Traverse County, and just wanted to come by this evening, introduce myself, say hello. A lot of the work that I've been doing the past month since I've been here is really about building partnerships with our communities and hopefully continue to support the work that you guys are doing on the local level. I've started working on some important projects that we're doing at the county, including our electronic permitting processes associated with our EnerGov Epic GT software, starting to work on a zoning atlas with Housing North with the purpose of identifying potential additional housing opportunities in our county, as well as various special projects throughout the county. So again, just wanted to stop by and introduce myself. Anyway, I can be of assistance. I've had the opportunity since I've been here to come to a couple of the Beach District meetings, and I can say that we're super geeked about the work that you're doing here in East Bay. We want to, again, support that in any way we can, and just can look forward to continue working with you as we move forward, so.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out, Maxwell. Good to see you. Anyone else? Going once, going twice? Okay. Anything else for consideration of future agenda items we need to talk about?
I think Mindy loaded us up, so.
That's good, yeah. We already have
Beginning.
those.
Okay.
Marching orders.
Okay. Our next meeting date is Tuesday, December 3rd. And last thing I'm going to leave you with, this isn't on the agenda, but I wanted to say this is, I think the Beach District comment was great to hear from the county. That's awesome. Just working around the region, I've been being hit both in the professional capacity, but also just as a local. I think guys are out there on what we're doing here to try and emulate something like that in other areas of the county. Maybe not exactly targeting the beach, but just the importance of these corridors and things that you can do to improve more of that sense of place, if you will. So just kudos to our crew and all the work that everybody's put into this dang thing. I guess it's starting to, I think, ripple in a positive way throughout the community. So I just wanted to throw that out there, food for thought. And with that, we're adjourned. Thanks, everybody.